What is up, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram? Welcome to Sport Ruffians, rounds 2 and 3 of the NFL Draft. The Colts just selected Jonathan Taylor, which was considered at one point the best running back in the draft. I didn't see Clyde going before him, but he is a great runner. He's very balanced. He reminds me of Latavius Murray as far as his running style, so a great move by the Colts. I did think the Colts were moving up to get Jalen Hurts, but I don't see why they didn't make that pick. But I can definitely see why they chose Jonathan Taylor, because he is a stud running back. Before we get into it, make sure to comment, like, and subscribe, and be sure to follow Gaming Authority on Instagram and YouTube, Facebook, all your social media. Make sure to subscribe to them, and also Gaming Authority has a Madden League. Make sure you check that league out. The league is called Daddy's League. It is run by Gaming Authority. List all the statistics, everything that you want to see to make it a real-life NFL experience. So make sure to go check them out as well. But yes, we were talking NFL Draft. I'm happy with the Carolina Panthers pick. We just selected Yetur Gross-Matos out of Penn State, defensive end. Definitely a hybrid defensive end, but I'm hoping that for that pick I actually give them an A. Looks like we are definitely going defensive line heavy in this draft. Hopefully we can get a corner or an offensive lineman soon. I can definitely see why, we want to get pressure on the quarterback, but at the same time we have to be able to have great blocking for Teddy Bridgewater or for whatever quarterback that we'll have in there in the next coming years. Teddy Bridgewater is our quarterback for now, but you would like to see him actually step up with our offense and our new offensive game plan, but I do believe that we need to get him help. If we don't get him help, man, I feel like we'll definitely be in trouble. Let me get this set up for y'all. Right, that is too bright. Don't like that. But yeah, sorry about yesterday. I know my audio didn't sound as well as I would like it to, but I think I've got everything figured out now. So yes, we are back for rounds 2 and 3 of the NFL Draft. It is here, and I feel as though these are the money rounds. My favorite round is the third round because you get a lot of value in that round alone. But right now the Jacksonville Jaguars are up. I feel as though they won day one of the draft with Clavon Chason. And so they get Laviska Shenault, the wide receiver out of Colorado. He is a great player. He is tall as well. I believe he is 6'4". He reminds me of an Alshon Jeffrey type, but has a little bit more speed to him as well. So coming from Colorado, I know Laviska Shenault was considered a steal. I definitely feel as though it was a great pick for them too, man. The Jaguars are killing the draft. For the last 3 years, the Jaguars have done a really good job with their scouting. Getting John Allen late last year. Over the years, they've just had very nice drafts. They always seem to go with the best player available, and they always seem to fill a need as well in the draft. So shout out to the Jaguars. I know last year was a downturn for the franchise, but I think they're definitely coming up, especially because now they have 3 talented young receivers. You have Laviska Shenault now, who will definitely be a nice, versatile wide receiver for them. You also have D.D. Westbrook there and DJ Chark, so they're going in, and I believe they're going all in for Gardner Minshew. If they can just improve that line and figure out what they're going to do with Leonard Fournette, I think the Jaguars can make another run at the AFC, especially since the AFC looks like it may be wide open outside of the Kansas City Chiefs. You look at the Steelers have been down for the last couple of years, as well as the Chargers, teams that you usually see in the AFC playoff race in the hunt. So the Jaguars have a chance to come back. Now they have Laviska Shenault to add to their other picks, and Clavon Chason and CJ. All right, so it looks like the Bears pick is already in. I'm curious to see if they do go with Jalen Hurts. I don't know where Jalen Hurts is going to fall, man. A lot of people are saying he might fall to the 4th round. I really have no idea, but I am curious to see what happens with that. But so far, I think the Jaguars definitely have the best draft. All right, let me get this.
Things I need to do in order to come into the building already. So I'm very mental. I want to make sure that I'm at my best 100% of the time.
All right, JP, we'll take a moment to enjoy this moment just a little bit. Congratulations on becoming a culprit.
Right, so the biggest questions of today are basically, where does Jalen Hurts fall? You've seen Xavier McKinney come off the board as well. It's looking pretty good, though. It's looking pretty good, no lie. All right, so the Bears pick is in. They could go quarterback here. What else do the Bears need? I mean, I do think they need a little bit more of a pass rush, but you have Khalil Mack. So I'm curious to see what they do because I really don't have a pick slated for them. They could go corner. I know Kyle Fuller has been a good cornerback for them over the years as well. But it looks like they have a shot to get Jalen Hurts. I don't know if that's the move they're going to make, but they definitely have that option.
Hello, my name is Linda, and I'm a simulation education specialist with African Healthcare in Chicago. I am proud to be on the front lines of this pandemic, helping our patients beat COVID-19.
But yeah. So you still have Zach Moss. Wow, Zach Moss is still on the board at running back. I knew this round was going to be a round where you see running backs start flying off the board, especially since only one was taken yesterday by the Chiefs, which was a great move as well. All right, so the Bears selection is in.
Now, with the 43rd pick in the 2020 NFL Draft, the Chicago Bears select Cole Kmet.
Wow, so they went Cole Kmet, the tight end out of Notre Dame, the first tight end taken in the draft thus far. Now, Cole Kmet, a lot of people had 2nd and 3rd round grades on him, but when it comes to position of need, which it's kind of crazy though because the Bears still have Trey Burton. I know he is a bit of a tweener for a tight end, but him and Trubisky really didn't click as much. So you definitely need to help Trubisky out, but it looks like that they're going to at least ride out with Trubisky for another year. I mean, you can get Jalen Hurts in the later rounds as well, but this is a great move for them. Excuse me. Yeah, I think Kmet could definitely be a serviceable tight end. He's fast. He can actually block as well. Of course, he reminds me of Gronk, but he's more so a Tyler Eifert style player. But he is very physical. He's definitely a physical tight end. He reminds me of Gronk. He's got a little bit of nastiness to him too. So that is a great move for the Bears, getting Mitch Trubisky some help. Yeah, so I definitely feel as though the Jaguars are killing the draft right now. Outside of them, the Panthers are actually having a great draft. Unfortunately, we weren't able to get Isaiah Simmons, but Derrick Brown is definitely a great player. I don't hate Derrick Brown. I just feel as though Isaiah Simmons would have been the better pick. But Derrick Brown, like I said, you saw me yesterday. If you watched yesterday's draft reaction, I was not happy with us passing Isaiah Simmons. I wish somebody would took him before we had our pick, so I would have been even more ecstatic about the Derrick Brown pick. But it's crazy, man. And talking to other Panthers fans, they agree that Isaiah Simmons should have been the pick. But then you got a lot of fans that just do, whatever the front office does is cool for most of those fans. So Derrick Brown's still a great pick, nonetheless, but definitely needed. I definitely wanted Isaiah Simmons as far as coverage, the fact that he can cover corners. But what's done is done. We have Yetur Gross-Matos on our squad as well, so our defensive line is looking pretty good. I'm happy that we are building on top of that. We definitely need to get pressure on the quarterback. We had to stop the run. Those are two obvious glaring holes that we've had, glaring needs, and we were able to get those done. So I'm not complaining. I know I got into it with a couple of Carolina Panthers fans because those fans are crazy, man. Well, we're crazy fans, no lie. But a lot of people agree that Derrick Brown is a great pick for us, and I'm happy that we have him. I'd rather have him than not have him or Isaiah Simmons at all. So I'm cool with that. I'm not even going to trip on that pick.
We're giving our customers up to 90 days to make their first payment. Shop online from the comfort of your couch and get your car.
But yes, so let's see what's up.
All Carvana cars come with a 7-day return policy. So if you need to keep moving, we're here for you. At Carvana, the safer way to buy your car.
But yeah, so a lot of receivers are coming off the board already, especially in a wide receiver heavy draft. You already had 2 in this round alone, and we had 4 yesterday. But the crazy thing is Denzel Mims is still on the board, and he was ranked strictly off his athleticism as being one of the top receivers in the draft. Thought the Eagles would have taken him over Jalen Reagor, which was a shocker to me because Jalen Reagor was projected to be a first-round pick, but he is a smaller style wide receiver who can stretch the field, but he is more of a run after the catch guy. So that was kind of shocking to see how we take him. I thought that Denzel Mims was a greater fit, but it's yet to be seen. All players start at 0. All wide receivers have 0 catches until entering the NFL, so we will see how that goes. But you can never tell. You can always go by what they did in college to what you think they're going to do in the NFL, but it's not necessarily the case at all times. So wide receiver wise in this draft, I feel as though whatever receiver goes into the better situation now will be the best receiver. Just because you just can't go by talent alone. It depends on the quarterback, the whole setup, the scheme, the offensive game plan, how they're involved. If there's another receiver that's an elite receiver or their number one guy, this guy's playing second fiddle, or if he's going to be the number one guy coming directly into the league. So it all depends on the situation for each wide receiver. It varies from receiver to receiver. So the Browns pick is in. I think they go linebacker here. They definitely need a linebacker. They improved their offensive line yesterday with taking Mekhi Becton. So let's see. Looks like somebody just got picked. Who is it? But yeah, the Browns definitely understand that they have to protect Baker Mayfield. So their first pick was a great pick overall. They actually traded back. They need a wide receiver, cornerback, linebacker, and offensive lineman. So I wouldn't mind if here we go. The Browns pick is in. Grant Delpit, safety out of LSU. It's funny because he was once considered a top 10 player in the draft. He slid off. I know he definitely has a great comparison to Tyrann Mathieu because he's a ball hawk. He's a big playmaker. Runs from sideline to sideline, gets things done. He's able to cover any position. He's a great zone safety. To me, he's the best safety in the draft. When you're talking about Xavier McKinney definitely has more explosive hitting to add to his resume, but I feel like Grant Delpit is a better zone coverage safety, and he's a lot faster than McKinney as well. Safeties necessarily you don't have to have speed, because as long as you have good catch-up ability per se, corners do their job, safeties can play in zones. You rarely see man-to-man with a safety in the NFL, so, you know, it's kind of crazy. But it is what it is, and the Buccaneers pick is in. Great pick selecting Grant Delpit. I give that pick an A as well, especially since it's kind of funny because they do have Jabril Peppers already. So I'm curious to see if they're going to play both of them or how they're going to utilize Jabril Peppers now that they have Grant Delpit. But a great move by the Browns, adding on to the defense after going offensive lineman with their first pick. So the next pick is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are up. Now, everybody that knows Tampa Bay knows that they're a problem, and they became a problem within a month. Signing Tom Brady, getting Rob Gronkowski in a trade, getting him out of retirement, having him team up with Tom Brady, moving up in the draft to take offensive lineman yesterday. So that was a great pick by them, man. As far as defense goes, the Buccaneers have to go defense now. It's one thing to put up points, but it's another thing to stop the points from flowing. They need to get better corners that can play man coverage. The Buccaneers have literally transferred from a team that threw 30 picks last year off of Jameis Winston alone. The offense looked out of sorts. They need a running back as well. I'm not a big fan of Ronald Jones. He did improve slightly last year, but we're going to see now with the Tampa Bay Bucs and their selection. And they go with a defensive back, Antoine Winfield, out of Minnesota. It's kind of crazy because he was supposed to go earlier in the second round as well. He's a nice safety. I think he's pretty. I think he's solid. He's a solid safety, but he is a big hitter as well. But he's kind of short on the shorter side. He's a 5'9" safety. Usually safeties run about anywhere from 6 foot up. I mean, he can play. That's all that matters. Like if you look at Tyrann, perfect example. Tyrann Matthews, a ball hawk, and he's on the smaller side as well. But the thing is, this guy doesn't really have the height or the speed. He is a slower safety, like Xavier McKinney. But at least Xavier McKinney had the size. So it's going to be kind of weird to see a slower, shorter safety in Antoine Winfield covering, wide receivers, especially going up against the top elite receivers in the NFC South. Like, you got to go up against Julio, you got to go up against DJ Moore, who's coming on, you got to play against Drew Brees, you got to play against Michael Thomas. So Antoine Winfield at safety, he's a smaller safety, very slow. It's kind of a questionable move for the Buccaneers. I figured they would go in a different direction. Even like an AJ Epinesa guy who's still on the board. He's Todd's best available at number 3. Or even Trayvon Diggs. I'm surprised he got taken ahead of Trayvon Diggs. Trayvon Diggs is sliding right now. It's not looking too good for him. The Broncos pick is in already as well. And this is the crazy thing because Atlanta is coming in at number 47. The fact that they took A.J. Terrell, where a lot of people thought he would go in the second or third round, such as Trayvon Diggs. But Trayvon Diggs has a lot more hype than A.J. That's why I was surprised that the Falcons didn't decide to trade that pick to the Philadelphia Eagles. I don't know if the Eagles inquired about receiving that pick, but it would have been a great move for the Eagles because they could have traded up and got CeeDee Lamb. But on the subject of the Falcons, here we go. The Denver Broncos pick is in. And they take KJ Hamler, wide receiver out of Penn State. We have another receiver off of the board. KJ Hamler is another guy who's he's tall, but he also What is this?
From Penn State, a different kind of receiver there.
All right. Sorry about that. So, yes, KJ Hamler had over 1,400 all-purpose yards as a freshman. He is a smaller guy, though. He's 5'8", 178. If you're a fan of smaller receivers, that's fine. He is a playmaker. He can get the job done after the run. He's extremely fast as well. It just depends on preference. It's all about preference when it comes to receivers. If you're talking about a guy who has Tyreek Hill type ability, you're talking about KJ Hamler. Yes, he is very fast. I believe he ran a 4.4 flat, but he definitely has better game speed than his fellow wide receivers. You're going to see a lot of receivers start coming off the board now, especially since we're getting later in the second round. A lot of teams that coveted or need a wide receiver are moving up in the draft, as you saw with Lucas Nault. So we are going to see how that plays out. But the Falcons pick is in. I think they need another rusher, so A.J. Epinesa would be a great pick for them. Definitely a great selection. Another one would be Jonah Jones would be another great person to add to the offensive line. So we'll see how that goes, man. So we are going to see how... Whoa. Okay. So, yes. We're going to a commercial break, but the second round is moving pretty fast, guys. It is definitely moving fast. Wide receivers are flying off the board. Carolina Panthers, I know they're my squad, but I would have to say that I give the Panthers an A- right now for the way we are drafting, getting our defensive linemen. It would have been better if we did get Isaiah Simmons, but that is in the past. I'm curious to see when Jalen Hurts goes, man, where he goes, if he's going to go in the second or third round. A lot of people, like I said, had a fourth round grade on him, so I'm curious to see how that will go.
You're in good hands. Just sit back, relax, and enjoy the biggest moment of your life. Jordan Bud Light Seltzer, supporting the NFL Draft Fund, COVID-19.
But yes, the Buccaneers, man, let me tell you something. As a Panthers fan, I already knew our season was over. If we had any chance of coming out of NFC South, it is crushed. I am not a biased fan. I will tell it like it is, and we don't have a shot in hell to win anything in the NFC South for the next year or two. But it is a process, man. You just got to trust the process, especially when it comes to a guy who just got rid of our starting quarterback. We had our top defensive player for the last 10 years retire, got rid of a defensive captain in Thomas Davis. We're just looking depleted right now. As a Carolina Panthers fan, I'm a realist, and we are not looking good at all. But in this draft, it does look like we are moving in the right direction as far as our defense goes. I would like to see us get another offensive lineman. I told you I believe that linemen, offensive and defensive linemen are the starting points for an NFL team outside of the quarterback. So the Panthers D-line, we couldn't stop anybody last year on the run, but it's looking like we definitely will be able to do that as well as apply some pressure. I think we will move Brian Burns to a defensive end as well, but we'll see how that goes. Denzel Mims, as you can see, is still on the board. He does not have a team that seems remotely interested in, which is kind of wild because he grew a large following after his 40 time was posted. He is extremely fast, as you can see. He finds ways to get open, and I'm surprised that no one has made a run at him yet. Wouldn't be surprised if somebody did trade up to get him, unless they feel as though he is more of a third round receiver than he would be in the second round. So definitely wondering where Denzel Mims will end up. I can see teams trading up to get him, as stated previously, but teams that have already taken a receiver, you look at the Eagles, they've taken Jalen Reagor already. They don't really need one. The Jaguars just selected their receiver. So these guys might fall because there's not a lot of teams that have a glaring need for a receiver, in my opinion. But you can always use a second guy. You can always use a third guy. But the Falcons pick is in. Will they be the ones to select Denzel Mims? We have the Seahawks after the Atlanta Falcons, as well as the Pittsburgh Steelers, who could use another receiver outside of Juju Smith-Schuster. Wow, so they got Offset on here. Okay. But yeah, so the Falcons need more of a rushing linebacker or an edge rusher. I thought they would go Clavon Chason with the first round, but it's looking like it's looking like they might go D tackle here. So I know a lot of people think that they could take Duke at defensive tackle, but I don't know which position they would go. But the Falcons pick is in, and we are going to figure out what is happening right now.
With the 47th pick in the 2020 NFL Draft, the Atlanta Falcons select Marlon Davidson.
So they go Marlon Davidson, the other defensive end on that Auburn line that was next to Derrick Brown. He played on the opposite side. He had 7 sacks in 2019, and in 2018 had 3 sacks. So he's definitely a disruptive force. A lot of people had his second and third round grade on him, so this is a great spot for them. As previously stated, the Falcons definitely needed a pass rush, and they will get that with Marlon Davidson. He is kind of short for a defensive end. It's kind of like a misfit because he can play D tackle as well. He's 6'3", 303 pounds. So he has the height for a defensive tackle, kind of on the smaller side for a defensive end, and kind of big for a defensive end, and is kind of, you can rotate him in both the defensive end and defensive tackle position. So Marlon Davidson goes to the Falcons and is a much needed pass rusher for their defense. Next up is the Seahawks, and their pick is in. They might go Denzel Mims, but it's looking like Chicago at 50 might be the selection for him. Yes, there is definitely a lot of good defensive players left as well. Gaming Authority, what is up? Shout out to Gaming Authority again. Make sure you go subscribe to their channel if you haven't already for great defensive plays, and their ebooks will definitely get you lit on Madden. Also, make sure to join Gaming Authority's league, Daddy's League, which is another thing that Gaming Authority is showing. Make sure to follow them on Instagram, all social media, subscribe on YouTube, and look up Daddy's League on daddysleague.com. You'll see all the stats, all the statistics, all of the standings for the league. It's very professional. It reminds you of a real NFL season, a simulated NFL season, so make sure to go join that as well. But yes, AJ Epinesa is still on the board, which is crazy. But it was definitely a good pick for the Falcons. Like I said, he is definitely a guy that you can transition from a DN to a D tackle or wherever need be. So it's definitely a good pick for the Falcons. All right, so wow, the Jets have traded up. It looks like they might get. Wow. So the Seahawks do go defensive end, but they take Darrell Taylor over AJ Epinesa. I don't get that. I really do not understand the move. Obviously, it was a scouting pick. You know, the ones that the scouts actually believe will be good rather than the more popular pick at that position. But Epinesa is definitely sliding. Pittsburgh is now on the clock. You figure the Seahawks had Jadeveon Clowney, who had an up and down year last year. He really got going towards the NFL playoffs and later towards the end of the season. So that was a good pick for them as far as position of need, but AJ Epinesa was still on the board, so I don't understand why they didn't get him. I do not understand that at all. But yes, so we have the Steelers up now. Their pick is in. They need another wide receiver. I wouldn't be shocked if they went Denzel Mims, but knowing the Steelers, are a firm believer of grabbing offensive linemen. You still have Ezra Cleveland on the board. So if I had to say, I would say they would go Ezra Cleveland, but they already have a great offensive line. But I know for the last couple of years they've been pretty inconsistent. But if you need a guy that you want Ben Roethlisberger to play under, I would say grab him. But Denzel Mims, you got to get him help too, man. Roethlisberger only has like a year or two left in him. A lot of people say Jalen Hurts too. This might be a great spot for Jalen Hurts to go as well. So I'm curious to see what the Steelers do with the pick. But if I'm the Steelers, I'm going Denzel Mims or I'm getting Jalen Hurts just as a precautionary measure, as if Roethlisberger were to retire in the next year or two, you can develop him under. They've went through a lot of quarterbacks. They went through Joshua Dobbs and, all the fiasco last year. It's just, with Mason Rudolph, all that. I didn't really see much that I liked out of Mason Rudolph last year with his limited amount of starts. So I could see them going Jalen Hurts here, but I think he might even slide to the third round. I wouldn't be mad if they did reach and get Jalen Hurts now, but that is yet to be seen. I would say Denzel Mims or Jalen Hurts would be the pick for the Steelers, and wouldn't be surprised if they took Ezra Cleveland. That is nuts. Yes. Kevin Brown, what is up? And yes, definitely, Jalen Hurts would be the pick for me if I was the Steelers, because I still feel as though there's a lot of receivers in the draft. After Jalen Hurts, the only other quarterback I think that would be worthy of at least a fourth-round pick would be Jake Fromm. So I definitely think that Jalen Hurts will go in the second or third round, especially for teams that quarterback situations, their quarterback situation isn't set in stone, or they have somebody that they feel as though is inconsistent, such as Mitch Trubisky, or even the Broncos with Drew Lock. Even though Drew Lock had a good season last year, quarterbacks with a question mark, I can see people taking Jalen Hurts in the second or third round. I'm surprised that the Colts didn't take Jalen Hurts or try to make a run at him in the second, considering that they do need a quarterback, and decided that Jacoby Brissett might not be the answer there. You can even give Jacoby Brissett one more year just to see how things go, because I actually thought that Jacoby Brissett played pretty well. But as you can see, they just drafted what was his name? Which running back did they take? Anyway, they still have Marlon Mack. So that was kind of surprising that they took another running back, unless they decided that Marlon Mack might not be the guy, where he needs to split carries because his load was a little heavy last year. But Jalen Hurts to the Colts would have made sense to me, so I really had no idea where he could go besides the Steelers at this point, or the Bears. Yeah, definitely. I'm curious to see, man, because as being a Carolina Panthers fan, I don't really trust Teddy Bridgewater. I don't know why they gave him $63 million. I would love to have Jalen Hurts on my team just to see what happens, because Bridgewater is a bridge quarterback. All right, so the Steelers pick. Wow, so another wide receiver off the board, not named Denzel Mims. Chase Claypool out of Notre Dame. He had 66 catches for 1,037 yards and 13 touchdowns last year. So they do get a receiver, but not the receiver that I was thinking of. So Denzel Mims is taking a great slide in this draft. A lot of people projected him to go late in the first, and it doesn't look like people are really jumping to get him in the second round. That's been 4 receivers taken in the second round already. And Denzel Mims is definitely taking a downward turn. But, yeah, so Chase Claypool, 6'4", 238. More of a possession, jump ball receiver. He has solid speed, but he's your guy as far as comparisons go. he's more of a Mike Evans kind of guy. If he can work on his route running, he can definitely be a similar player to Mike Evans, but he's a jump ball guy. Definitely a guy who would help any team, but it depends on your style of receiver. That's the thing. When you're talking about wide receivers, you're talking about speed, you're talking about height. It's all based off of preference or how your offensive scheme is run. To me, I feel as though a fast receiver, if you have a height, weight, speed guy like Ruggs, that would be my ideal receiver. Somebody like Julio Jones, but then also have a guy that can play in the slot, and then a guy on the other side that can also catch balls, jump balls, like Chase Claypool, aka same skill set as Mike Evans. So that was a great pick by them. But Denzel Mims is still on the board. Jordan Elliott out of Missouri is still on the board. Jalen Johnson is still on the board, which is shocking because the Patriots, for some reason, I don't know how they do it, but the Patriots always take no-name cornerbacks. And it's kind of weird because I remember dialing for the Patriots a couple years ago, about 3 or 4 years ago, when you had other people on the board. You had Josh Norman on the board in that draft. You had a lot of people that come from smaller schools. The Patriots always seem to go in the opposite direction. Their scouting department likes a certain player, and that's who they decide to go with. They don't take the best available on anybody's board besides their own. Speaking of Jalen Johnson was the next pick, and he went to the Bears. I had him coming to us because we definitely needed corner help, but like I said, we built on our line. Great job by the Bears because they have Kyle Fuller. Now they have Jalen Johnson on the other side, building onto that defense after taking Cole Kmet, the tight end. So good pick for them. I give them a B+ for this pick because Jalen Johnson was projected to go earlier in the second round. So this is a guy, he plays a lot of zone defense. He can play man. He's good in press coverage. I only watched a couple of games, but he's good at press coverage. If you look at the tape, he's very physical as well. Like I said, he would be my ideal corner in the draft if we were picking in the second or third round. So for him to fall to the Bears is a pretty good haul for them. Next up is the Dallas Cowboys. Eagles fans, I know every time you see that name pop up on the screen, you're like, damn, man. Especially after yesterday when they took CeeDee Lamb right from under the Eagles. I know a lot of people have been pissed about that and how we not making the move to go get him. But, I feel as though I don't even know what happened. I didn't hear anything about it. But usually you'll hear that how we try to make a move or try to trade up, trade back to acquire a player. And it didn't seem as though he tried to do it this time. I mean, we might hear something different after the draft. But the fact that they took Jalen Reagor, they probably don't want to come out and say, yeah, we tried to trade up for CeeDee Lamb, and, that causes a whole thing. But the Cowboys pick is in now. Still have Jordan Elliott on the board, Denzel Mims. You have Logan Wilson, inside linebacker, still on the board. So you definitely have a lot of good potential in this draft left in the second and third rounds. Alright, so yes, that is commercial break, y'all. Again, if you haven't already, make sure to go subscribe to the channel and subscribe to Gaming Authority. And also, if you're looking for Gaming Authority apparel, make sure to go check out GoLiveT-shirts.com as well. Their t-shirts are A1. They are lit. So make sure you go check them out as well for all of your Gaming Authority apparel. But yeah, this second round is moving pretty fast, man. I don't know if it's because of the draft's format this year, with it being a virtual draft, and the picks are coming in. There hasn't been a lot of trades. 1 second. Hello? Yo, Dad, what's up? Yup.
They shoot me, my dog.
Yup.
Thanks for sharing your DIY haircuts. Thanks for sharing your savage moves, and especially your operations. Thanks for sharing your cute kids. And your
Alright, I got you.
Now it's our turn to share with the guy.
Alrighty. Yep.
15% credit
Yep.
for car and motorcycle. They're both current and new customers.
So yes,
Because we're committed for the long haul.
we are back with the Cowboys on the clock. And I'm curious to see what they do as well. They might even go linebacker because they had a lot of problems with Sean Lee over the years. Jalen Smith has been a great player for them. Actually, I don't even think they need a linebacker. They should probably go corner at this point. They have enough linebacker coverage. I don't know what I'm saying. Sean Lee, even though he's been hurt, their linebacking core is pretty solid. If they can get somebody like a Jordan Elliott at this point in the draft, that would be great for them. But I'm curious to see what happens with that pick. You already got CeeDee Lamb. That offense is looking pretty good. As far as tight end goes, they could go tight end, but I mean, it would be a pretty much a reach if they decided to go Moss at this point. I don't think that they do. Thaddeus Moss is the son of Randy Moss. He's a tight end from LSU. He's pretty solid. He's a good player. He didn't have great production at LSU. He had caught 4 touchdowns last year, I believe, for like 800 yards. So he's a good player. He has potential, but I don't see him coming or being drafted in the second round. I see him more so a fourth rounder. I had the Panthers taking 2. So we will see what is up. Yes, they did get Aldon Smith too. So that is another thing. I know he his legal troubles over the years, and he's been out of the league for a while. The last time I remember Aldon Smith, he was on the Raiders, I believe. But I definitely did forget that the Cowboys brought him back. But we are getting back to the draft. The Cowboys pick is in, and let's see who they decide to take. And also, they did get Gerald McCoy too. I feel like the Cowboys have low-key made some sneaky moves that a lot of people weren't anticipating or really paying attention to. But I'm curious to see under this whole new scheme with Mike McCarthy too. I really think that he'll get that offense right. I know a lot of people don't like Mike McCarthy at all, and with things souring between him and Aaron Rodgers, a lot of people don't believe in Mike McCarthy, but I believe that he can definitely help Dak Prescott out in his offense, get him to throw the ball deeper. McCarthy's offense is it's a pretty much a passing style offense, so I'm curious to see how they integrate Ezekiel Elliott in it as well. All right, so the Cowboys pick is in. Yes, so the Cowboys do indeed go cornerback with Trayvon Diggs. Like I said, he was considered a top corner in the draft, but a lot of people had him slotted late first. I had him going to the Packers at one point in one of my mock drafts, but I didn't see him dropping this far in the second round. So that was a great pick for the Cowboys, man. If you look at it, you already got CeeDee Lamb in the first round, and in the second round get Trayvon Diggs. Like, that is a nice draft so far for the Cowboys. Cowboys, I'm giving a B+ so far for their draft picks. Matter of fact, I'm giving them an A- for that, because Trayvon Diggs is a good corner. He can play man-to-man. He's got a lot of nastiness to him as well, but a lot of people felt as though he was inconsistent. I didn't really see that as much, but I think that Trayvon Diggs is a great pick for them. They're literally loading up on the skill players. He has great ball skills on defense, and he's a ball hawk as well. So for them to get CeeDee Lamb and Trayvon Diggs, the Cowboys are looking good. as far as the skill positions go at wide receiver and at corner. Next up are the Rams, and their pick is in. Remember, we still have Epinesa on the board. Josh Jones is on the board. Buki is on the board. Justin Mabouk and Jordan Elliott. And you also have Denzel Mims there. So there's a lot of good players still left. The Rams just got rid of Brandon Cooks, so they could go Denzel Mims. I'm not going to say Denzel Mims for every pick, but it would make sense if the Rams did decide to go Denzel Mims. Another crazy thing is the next team on the board are the Philadelphia Eagles. So if you mean to tell me that the Eagles could have got Denzel Mims all the way here in the second round at this point, if you told me that, that would have been a great selection from them. That's why the Jalen Reagor move is kind of I mean, I don't knock the player, I just knock the pick. I feel as though it was kind of early for them to take him, considering Justin Jefferson was also on the board. All right, so the Rams selection, the pick is in.
They will be home to the Los Angeles Chargers and the Los Angeles Rams. And this next Rams player will call SoFi Stadium home. With the 52nd pick.
Yeah, their new logo is ass, by the way, too.
The Los Angeles Rams select Cam Akers.
Wow, they went Cam Akers, the running back out of Florida State. What are the man? Wow. So first of all, it's not a bad selection considering they no longer have Todd Gurley, but they drafted Darrell Henderson in the third round last year, and I was expecting them to be their bell cow running back, but it looks like they're going to go a committee approach, which I am for. Cam Akers is a very talented running back, but he's a guy that you could have possibly gotten in the fourth round. He runs hard. He's quick. He's more of a nimble guy on his feet, but he's more of a what can I say? How can I say this? He's a slower running back. He kind of reminds me, if you remember Rashard Mendenhall, I feel as though that's how Cam Akers is as a running back. He'll definitely stiff arm you. He's got a lot of power, and he's pretty nimble, but he runs upright a lot of times. All right, so the pick is in for the Eagles already. And like I said, they still have Epinesa on the board at defensive end. They could use a little bit of a pass rush, but you also have Zach Bond, the linebacker out of Wisconsin, too. So if I'm the Eagles, I just might go Zach Bond, or yeah, I'm going Zach Bond. I don't even see anybody else I would want. Like I said, Denzel Mims is on the board. Logan Wilson out of Wyoming is on the board, who's a linebacker as well. You have a lot of D tackles that are left. The Eagles, to me, don't need any D tackles at all. That defensive line is basically solidified. If they wanted to go Epinesa, I would not be mad at them for doing that. But that would be the best pick in my book. I don't really see too much going on if they decided to go safety or corner. So the Eagles selection is up. They select Jalen Hurts. Oh, wow. The Eagles just took Jalen Hurts. Wow. This is going to be a story today, guys. This is going to be a crazy story. They take quarterback Jalen Hurts out of Oklahoma. I am curious to see what is going to happen today, because this is crazy. You are going to see a media frenzy surrounding Carson Wentz. This is a crazy move, man. Wow. And to get him in the second round, it would be one thing if the Eagles got him in the fourth round. You'd say, okay, that's great value. But to use a second round pick on another quarterback after signing Carson Wentz to that contract goes to show you that their confidence in Carson Wentz's injury history has just, wow. I did not see this move coming at all. This is nuts, man. Jalen Hurts goes to the Eagles in the second round. There's going to be, man, I feel bad for Carson Wentz, man. You had to deal with the whole Nick Foles debacle. You finally have a year to yourself. Your receivers get hurt. There's controversy in the locker room. Nick Foles is out of there. Now you have to worry about Jalen Hurts. I cannot believe this, man. This is crazy. This is nuts. And wow. This is crazy. This is nuts, man. I cannot believe that the Eagles just did this to Carson Wentz, man. Is it a great pick? Yes, definitely a great pick. But you used a second round pick on this guy, which is bad because you're putting so much pressure on Carson Wentz. And you just signed him to this big contract. Why? I don't understand, man. I don't get that move at all. I don't see how you can benefit from this unless you want to groom him under Carson, but that wouldn't even make sense to me, man. What is going on right now? Wow. Howie Roseman, what are you doing? What are you doing, man? You got a lot of questions that need to be answered today. Tomorrow is going to be a crazy frenzy, man. Wow. That is nuts. Kevin Brown says that's the way. That's saying something about the way they feel in Philly. Yeah, that's crazy, though, man, because... And Doug Peterson's literally sitting there because Doug Peterson had to make that call. He had to make the pick. Oh, my gosh, man. Number one, Jalen Hurts is a great quarterback. Now, before Jalen Hurts was the starting quarterback for Alabama, as people know, he got hurt in the championship game in which Tua Tagovailoa took over and brought them back and won that game. Jalen Hurts then transferred to Oklahoma, and his earlier years were better, but he still had prominent years for Oklahoma. But this is nuts because everybody is thinking, what the hell is going on right now in Philadelphia? I'm going to hear this for the next 2 weeks. Like I said, I'm not an Eagles fan. I like the Eagles as a team. I'm not going to say, well, yeah, I'm not a fan. I'm a Panthers fan. But I pay attention to the Eagles. I watch the Eagles. I listen to sports radio. All they talk about are the Philadelphia Eagles. And now they have Jalen Hurts. Wow. I would have never thought they'd use that second round pick on Jalen Hurts, man. I do not get that. And here they are interviewing him right now. I'm curious to see what he has to say. Wow.
It's all been unprecedented.
Yo, this is so awkward, man. This is crazy awkward right now.
Coming from east side Houston.
Yo, I feel so bad for Carson, man, and I like Carson Wentz a lot. Jeez, man. Like, what more can you do to this guy? What more can you do to this guy, man? Carson dealt with so much, and to know that he has to have somebody shadowing him and on his back 24/7. Like, this reminds me of when the Redskins selected RG3 and then took Kirk Cousins in the 4th round. They had both of those guys. Now, I know RG3, see, that was before he got injured. So they drafted RG3. He didn't really have an injury history with the 3rd pick, I believe, in that draft, and took Kirk Cousins in the 4th round. Kirk Cousins became a great quarterback, but RG3 was running to the dirt. So once he got injured, Kirk Cousins was able to take over and go nuts. But that is wild. The Bills pick is in. The Buffalo Bills, I can see them going D tackle. Jordan Ness says the Bills get Dobbins. Let's see. They go AJ Epinesa. Wow. And that's the thing. Epinesa was on the board and the Eagles decided to pass. So Epinesa, like I said, I had him going to the Patriots because he seemed like a definite Bill Belichick pick. He goes to the Bills. But the thing is, I think the Bills, don't the Bills run a 3-4 defense? That's kind of weird, but either way, he is an elite rusher. It was a great move by them. They are getting better at. Now, me, I do not like Sean McDermott at all. Literally do not like this guy. But the Bills look like they're turning a new leaf with Josh Allen. They get Epinesa on defense. Everybody knew that the Bills' defense a couple years ago was a great defense, considering the players that they had as well. Everybody in Madden loved the Bills' defense. They had a lot of low-key players that showed out for them. But that front seven is going to look wild. Epinesa is there. They got a pass rush. That's the thing, man. It's all about quarterback play and pass rush. So Bills are looking good, especially with that move to get that value late in the second round. And it looks like the Ravens are on the clock as well. After that, you have Miami, and the Rams are up again. But so the top are, you have Ohio State's running back, Dobbins. You have Zach Bond out of Wisconsin, which the Eagles didn't take it. Like, thinking of all the names that are on the board right now that the Eagles looked over is mad. It is crazy. You had Logan Wilson there. You had Zach Bond on there. You had AJ Epinesa. Now, the Ravens pick is in. They could go, if the Ravens get Denzel Mims this late in the second round, that is great. Because I feel as though they had Marquise Brown, who could go off. I know he was, injury riddled throughout the season. But the fact that Lamar Jackson went off with limited help, his tight end definitely killed it last year as well. But they do need a second receiver. And Denzel Mims would fit the mold for them as well. Get Lamar Jackson some more help. They could go Ezra Cleveland too, just to beef up that offensive line, but I do think that Denzel Mims would be a great pick. But like I said, Denzel Mims is just sliding down in the draft. And at this point, I don't know where he would end up. But if any team made sense for them, it would be the Ravens.
For adults with moderately to severely active Crohn's disease, Stelara works differently. Studies showed relief and remission with dosing every 8 weeks.
Stelara may lower your ability to fight infections and may increase the risk of infections and cancer. Some serious infections.
So yes, the Ravens pick is in, and we will see what their selection is soon. So far, I still believe that the Jaguars are winning the draft. The Panthers are a close second. I'm not being biased. I just think that the fact that we were able to get Derek Brown and Yader Gross-Matos, I think that combination will be great for us. Like I said, I'm not concerned. I am concerned with the offense, but the defense is looking a lot better and a lot brighter. But it's going to take a couple years for us to rebuild. The Eagles, that is the most surprising pick of the draft. The fact that they took Jalen Hurts. Now, don't get me wrong. As I said, if Jalen Hurts was in the 4th or 5th round and the Eagles took him, you're like, okay, he dropped this far. You can get insurance for Carson. But the fact that they got him with the 2nd round pick, you're talking about a guy who can scramble, but also has an injury history as well. So that's kind of shocking, man. But I think it was a great value pick for the Eagles, just not in the 2nd round. Definitely not that early for him. Wow. That was crazy, man. But I'm curious to see what the social media frenzy is going to be. My phone is dead right now, but I know a lot of Eagles fans are going off. And I can't wait to see what sports radio, what WIP is looking like tomorrow, man. Because I listen all the time. Literally, sports radio all the time, man. But just know that the fans in Philly are like, what the hell? But you know what's going to be crazier, though? What's going to be the craziest out of all this? The fact that we had a Nick Foles versus Carson Wentz argument for the whole entire year. Even this year, it was literally Foles and Wentz. If Wentz even slacks off a little bit, those same guys that rooted for Foles and they're gonna hype up Jalen Hurts so much. They're going to hype him up so much. If Carson even has a bad game, his first bad game, you're going to get, well, the funny thing is, there's probably going to be no fans in the stand, so you're not going to get any boos and chants for Jalen Hurts, but you're going to see a lot of Twitter feeds, everything saying, oh, we need to start Jalen Hurts. It's going to be a frenzy, man. I'm not happy that they did Carson like that, because I like Carson Wentz a lot. I feel as though he's a top 12 quarterback in the league when healthy, possibly could be a top 7 if they got him some help. It's consistent help, that is, outside of Zach Ertz and, injured receivers and an inconsistent Aguilar and a no-name Arcega-Whiteside. But that is crazy, man. Definitely, the Eagles definitely do have more pressing needs, man. Howie is not in the draft talking about value-wise. I don't think he's doing a great job. Howie Roseman needed to go defense. The corners are still an issue, man. Like, what are the Eagles doing? They never go after a safety. They've been trying to replace Dawkins for the longest. Malcolm Jenkins is off of the team. Malcolm Jenkins is gone. So what are they doing? You could have traded. Oh my goodness, man. They could have traded up and taken somebody. Mike Larry, what's up, man? Thank you for joining. Yeah, the Eagles, to me, they need a safety, at least a corner. And the Ravens take J.K. Dobbins. Wow. Now, Ravens fans should be ecstatic with the pick, but you have Mark Ingram. And, you have that rushing attack with him and Lamar Jackson. J.K. Dobbins is a beast. Definitely be a great pick for the Ravens, but I thought that Gus Edwards was making strides, man. I like Gus Edwards a lot. And I thought low-key, once they decided that Mark Ingram was gone, that Gus Edwards would have been the guy. He showed out a lot in the preseason last year, and later on in fantasy, for a couple games, was a nice option. But J.K. Dobbins is going to the Ravens. So they're going to have a 3-headed attack. Rushing attack should be nice for Lamar Jackson. But, what about Denzel Mims, man? What about Denzel Mims? The Ravens could have definitely used Denzel Mims, man. Definitely used him. But, yes, make sure you subscribe to Gaming Authority and make sure you get their defensive playbook, their ebook. If you're looking for all nano blitzes out of the 3-4, out of 4-3, you want to learn how to set up your defense on Madden, Gaming Authority is where it's at. Make sure to go subscribe to their channel. Me, I personally started playing Madden again about a week and a half ago and getting back into the swing of things. My defense was looking trash. I had to look up base defenses, get an ebook from Gaming Authority, practice their plays. If you want to see some of their plays, make sure to go check them out on YouTube. But my defense is looking legit today. Blew somebody out 45-7. That's no lie in my league. All because of Gaming Authority. So make sure to go subscribe to them as well. And if you're looking for the best league in all of Madden, look no further than Gaming Authority. It's Daddy's League, the best league I've ever been a part of. They break down the statistics, the standings, everything that you're looking for in an NFL season. Gaming Authority is the #1 franchise that I have ever played in, and that is Daddy's League. And it is ran by Gaming Authority. Daddy's League. Make sure to go follow them on Instagram, all social media, and make sure to check out daddysleague.com. So next up is the Miami Dolphins. Their pick is in. They could go, I'm not going to say it again, but you already know who I think they should go. I am going to say it. Denzel Mims. What is he still doing on the board? They need a receiver. Why not take him? Devontae Parker has been solid, but the fact that he is getting older and he's been inconsistent his whole career. He had a nice run with Ryan Fitzpatrick as the quarterback for the Dolphins during that stretch. But now you're looking at Tua coming in, and you need to get him some more help. Go Denzel Mims. You can't go wrong. And they go Raekwon Davis. Wow. This is who I wanted the Panthers to take in the second, third round. Raekwon Davis is a monster. Now, a lot of people will say his pass rushing ability isn't as great as his previous years. In 2018, he had about, I believe it was 8.5 sacks. Last year, didn't have any sacks at all. He's a run stuffer. But he fell in the draft because people believed he was just a two-down run stopper. To me, I think Raekwon Davis is a beast and has a high motor as well. So that's a great pick for the Dolphins. I would have think they would have went wide receiver in Denzel Mims, but you can't get mad at this pick, man. That is an A pick from me. Raekwon Davis is a high motor player, and I think he will definitely be a top D tackle in the league within the next couple of years. Like I said, I wish the Panthers would have selected him, but that is a great move by the Dolphins. I can't knock that pick at all. Excuse me. So, yes, the Rams pick is in. After that, we are going Minnesota and then the Jets shortly after. But the Dolphins are having a nice draft, man. I can't even knock their draft. So far, I would say the Jaguars, possibly the Dolphins, us, and the Vikings, because they got Justin Jefferson late, so that was a good pick from them as well. They look like the winners in the draft. The losers in the draft, I'm not going to say the Eagles are losers in the draft. It's just the players that they've taken have been good players. It's just the players that were available when they were taking that pick is what confuses me.
Your heart, courage, and commitment has always been the and now it's no different.
So yes, the Rams pick is in, and I'm curious to see what they do. Jared Goff took a downward turn last year. I mean, that Super Bowl got to him. You can definitely tell because his production was not as good as it was in 2017 when they made a run at the playoffs, and when they went to the Super Bowl. Yeah, he's not the same player. I don't know if his confidence, if he just got shaken or what, but Jared Goff definitely had a down year last year. Anybody who had him in fantasy knows that. But I think he'll start to turn things around. But there is no more Brandon Cooks, which was the deep threat. He has Cooper Kupp, who's a great receiver, an excellent receiver. Robert Woods, that whole trio was very dynamic. But the offense is looking a little bit different now without Todd Gurley going there, going to the Falcons, and Brandon Cooks leaving. So I'm curious to see where they decide to go. But Darrell Henderson will have to split carries now that they've also taken a running back with the second round pick. But yeah, it's been I'm actually happy that the draft presentation-wise has been good. I know I had a lot of questions, with it being a virtual draft, but you don't have that feel with all the fans and, all the festivities going on during this. But for that being said, the virtual draft is looking pretty good. Like, I feel as though I'm watching a regular NFL draft. The excitement is still there. You still see the reaction from the players, from the coaches, things like that. But it's not really that bad, you know what I mean? But I am definitely stoked about the Carolina Panthers picks. And the most concerning to me are the Eagles. I'm curious to see. Once I get this phone charged about my friends, I'm going to ask them how they feel about the pick. I'm curious to see, but I know all the Nick Foles lovers are going to be the ones trashing Carson Wentz fans and wanting Jalen Hurts to ball out and eventually surpass Carson. not because they don't like Carson, but because they argued Foles over Wentz. It's the same effect with Kobe Bryant. I know we're going a little off topic to a different sport, but it's still the same concept. For example, LeBron James coming into the league, everybody hyped him up for good reason. He was a great player, but at the time, Kobe was the man. You know, Kobe was definitely the man. So all these Kobe fans, once LeBron came in the league and LeBron started catching up with Kobe as far as production, scoring, leading his team, everybody was ready to give LeBron the title. He's ready to give him the title, and everybody that was a Kobe fan wanted to see LeBron fail. Now, I have to say, me being a Kobe fan, I was like, come on, man. LeBron's not on that level yet. Prove me wrong 100%. But they want to see the person that they're arguing for surpass the other guys. So they wanted LeBron to fail because they can hold Kobe to that high standard over LeBron. The same way they did that with Carson Wentz and Nick Foles as well. So the Los Angeles Rams pick is in, and let's see what direction they decide to go in. Wow, Van Jefferson out of Florida? Are you kidding me? Something must be going on with Denzel Mims, because Van Jefferson was supposed to be a fifth round pick. His father, Sean Jefferson, also played in the NFL for the San Diego Chargers. So wow, that is pretty wild, considering that Denzel Mims is on the board and the Rams did decide to go receiver. But wow. So the Vikings are on the board. They selected Justin Jefferson and Jeff Gladney last year. You can tell how tired I am. Yesterday with the first round selections. So the Vikings are on the clock now. Van Jefferson is more of a Deshaun Jackson type of player. Small, speedy. But the fact that Denzel Mims is there and they decided not to go in that direction shocks me. But the Vikings are on the clock, and now their pick is in. They still need a lineman, and they have Ezra Cleveland. If the Vikings decide to take Ezra Cleveland now, they might jump ahead of the Jaguars in the draft, because you got a lot of value out of Justin Jefferson and Jeff Gladney, who is projected to go early in the second, late first. And they get an offensive lineman to help them out, especially with Kirk Cousins' inconsistency with the line. I think that would be a great move for them, and the Vikings would possibly have the best draft thus far.
So the Rams go offense with their 2 picks here in the second round, going with Cam Akers and running back.
All right, so the Rams go Cam Akers and Van Jefferson in the second round. I don't like either of those picks. Cam Akers is a great player, but the pick for that I don't really agree with, because they have Darrell Henderson. So I'm curious to see how that shapes up. But J.K. Dobbins, I guess they didn't really like what they saw out of Darrell Henderson and decided to take J.K. Dobbins regardless. So the Vikings pick is in. If they do decide to go Ezra Cleveland, that would be a great selection for them. After the Jets, which are the next pick, we also have the Ravens coming back in to the second round. So the Minnesota Vikings pick is in, and they are selecting Ezra Cleveland. Great pick from them. He's the best player on the board and a position of need. Ezra Cleveland was projected to go in the first round, late first, early second. The thing with Ezra Cleveland was a lot of people thought that he was inconsistent with his pass blocking ability, and he's very nimble, very athletic on his feet, but I feel as though he has to add a lot of bulk to his frame in order to be a star tackle. But they said he has great footwork, but his power is lacking at times. But a great move for the Vikings, considering that they need a lot of help on the line, because they have a great offense. Even though they did lose Stephon Diggs, you still have Dalvin Cook, You still have Kyle Rudolph. You still have Adam Thielen. So it was a great move by the Vikings to select them, and they're filling all of their positions of need. And also with Justin Jefferson on that other side, man, the Vikings are definitely improving their offense. But, yes, Ezra Cleveland goes to the Minnesota Vikings. Next up are the New York Jets. Now, they selected Mekhi Becton in the first round, and now they need an edge rusher, and they can also use another receiver as well. And, yes, I know you don't like Carson Wentz, Kayla. I definitely know that. My girl's first year playing fantasy, and she had Carson Wentz and Andrew Luck. She decided to start Carson Wentz one game, and she lost. And if she would have started Andrew Luck, she would have been good. But yes, we are a fantasy football family. Everybody in my family plays fantasy football. We have a draft every year, a homemade draft. So we buy the draft board, we put the stickers on, and we do a live draft. We have a party, and it's all friends and family. We all love fantasy football. Literally, I'm addicted to fantasy football. Leagues, and I also play on FanDuel. So everything fantasy I'm with, even fantasy basketball. I even tried fantasy baseball last year. It also helps you keep in touch with everything that's going on in the league, all the players. You're able to know different stats, statistics in all sports. So I advise everybody, so if you haven't tried fantasy football or whatever sport you're into, to try it, because you'll definitely have fun with it. But yeah, man, I would say the Vikings are actually winning the draft as of now. But as you can see, all of the highlights here, all the more explosive receivers in the draft. We've taken, I think, about 14 receivers so far in this NFL draft. Goes to show you all the hype was not just hype, that this receiver class is loaded. Definitely loaded. Steve says Debo's my sleeper this year. Yeah, Debo Samuel, man. Late last year, definitely caught on. I like Debo. Debo kind of reminds me of like a Percy Harvin kind of receiver. And he's a beast, man. Like, he'll break a lot of tackles as well, but that speed kills. But he was a great option for Garoppolo last year. So definitely a sleeper. Definitely a sleeper this year. If I had to say sleepers in fantasy, I would go Kenyon Drake this year. He's my sleeper every year, but the Dolphins did not know how to utilize him. The Cardinals, he will definitely be a great running back on the Cardinals. You heard it here first. He's going to be in the top 10 in rushing this year. So that's definitely my sleeper. I have a lot of sleepers, but he's number one. I can't tell you all my sleepers just in case, just in case. I don't want anybody stealing my players, but, he's definitely my top guy. And Jordan says Mims must have character issues. Yeah, man, I don't know. I really don't understand what's going on. And he might have character issues. It's just I haven't heard anything leading up to the draft. So that's what kind of has me thinking, like, I don't know what it is that they don't see. Because I all know for one thing is that he was the second fastest or third fastest receiver in the draft, judging by his 40 time, and he's athletic as hell. So I don't know what they're doing, man. It's crazy. And Adam Gase, I don't care what anybody says. They say this guy's an offensive genius. I do not like Adam Gase at all, and that was one of the reasons why Kenyon Drake he really never had the opportunity to shine, man. He never did. All right, so we still have Zach Bond, the linebacker, on the board, as well as Justin Merberbrook, Jordan Elliott, and Denzel Mims as the top 5 available. The Jets pick is in. They did sign Rashad Perriman and Josh Doxson this year as well. Robbie Anderson is gone. Let's see what the Jets do with their selection.
Yeah, and that's really the big area of concern right now for the Jets is a wide receiver, David, because Robbie Anderson's gone down to Carolina in free agency. So Jamison
Now, I know they'll go wide receiver, but I don't know which receiver. At this point, man, I don't know who they're going to decide to take, because Denzel Mims is #1 wide receiver on the board. And then you have Devin Duvernay, KJ Hill, Antonio Gandy Golden. Like, you're talking about guys from Liberty. Like, Antonio Gandy Golden is literally from Liberty College. If he goes ahead of Denzel Mims, I don't know what to think, and I don't know where he could possibly land. All right, so the Jets pick is in. Let's see where they decide to go. Roger Goodell's getting booed as always. It's awkward as hell to watch a TV screen to see you're getting booed by the people on Zoom. Like, that is crazy. Yes, so Denzel Mims is gone finally. Goes to the New York Jets. Nice move by them because Sam Darnold needs help. So that is great that they decided to take Mims. And it is wild that he lasted this long. That is crazy. Like, that is wild. But yeah, Sam Darnold gets another receiver. Denzel Mims is a speedster. He's a he's a deep threat. A guy that can take the top off of a defense at 6'2", 207. And the Ravens were on the clock, and they traded the pick to the Patriots. So who could the Patriots be wanting to take with this second-round pick? Wow. But, yeah, so the Patriots traded up. But, yes, Denzel Mims and Sam Darnold will have a great connection. You have Jamison Crowder there already. They're rebuilding that offense. Sam Darnold is a pretty decent quarterback, but is yet to be seen if he can advance to that next level. Now you get a wide receiver on the outside that can definitely help him throw the ball and sling it downfield. But yeah, man, I'm just surprised the Eagles didn't take him. I'm surprised because that's exactly what they need. They need a guy who has size and speed, and he's a playmaker, man. So for him to fall all the way down to pick 59 is wild. But the Patriots pick is in. I think they go Zach Bond. Because there's really nobody else worth trading up for. But the Patriots, you never know what they're thinking. Yeah, 4.38. He blazed the combine, man. Now think about this, right? He ran a 4.38 and he's a wide receiver. And Isaiah Sims had the exact same 40 time at 6'3", 240 as a linebacker. That's why I'm pissed. I'm still pissed that the Panthers didn't take him. But he's just as fast as Denzel Mims. That is crazy. But the Ravens traded their pick to the New England Patriots, and yes, their pick is in as well. All right, so it's rare to see the Patriots move up in the draft too, because they did fall back. They traded out of the first round yesterday, but now they are moving up to select a player that obviously they've coveted. Right, so the pick is in. Let's see who Bill Belichick wants. Let's see post Tom Brady era. If they go Jake Fromm, that would be nuts.
With the 60th pick in the 2020 NFL Draft, the New England Patriots select Josh Uche, linebacker.
Josh Uche? I never even heard of that guy. See, they always take random guys, man. The Patriots always take random guys. Every draft, you're like, who is this guy? Who are they? I've never even heard of this guy. Apparently, he's a linebacker out of Michigan. 6'1", 245. I'm curious to see what kind of. So it looks like he is an edge rushing linebacker. But I've never heard of this guy, man. That's kind of wild. But the Patriots are known for that. Like taking Razai Dowling at corner when you had a lot of great players left. That's just Bill Belichick's way, man. I don't know who their scouting department is or what they specialize in, but I don't know. I can't really think of the last time the corners had the Patriots drafted a top corner. Obviously, they have Stephon Gilmore, but he came from the Bills. I don't remember the last time they drafted a top corner. It had to be Asante. They got Asante Samuel in the 3rd round. Everybody else that they got, it was from either free agency or trade. But they take Josh Uche, linebacker out of Michigan. All right, so next on the board is the Tennessee Titans, and their pick is already in. After that, you have Green Bay and Kansas City. Yeah, man, Bill Belichick always does it. I don't understand. It'd be one thing if they turned out to be great, but it doesn't seem. I mean, he more so drafts players that fit his scheme, not even like talent. It's just whatever fits his scheme. Like if you know the Patriots, you know that their linebackers are always slow. They always get slow guys that can play. You know. It is nuts, man. It is definitely crazy the way they operate. But they've been in success for so long that it's hard to knock them. But we will see how the Patriots fare without Tom Brady. We'll definitely get to see, because over the years, everybody had a discussion. Is it Tom Brady or is it Bill Belichick? To me, it was both. I can't say it was one without the other. But we get to see more of that this year. Is it really the scheme that Belichick was running, or is it Tom Brady? Now, if you look at times that Bill Belichick didn't have Tom Brady, remember Tom Brady was out one year due to a knee injury, and during that year it was Matt Castle, and Matt Castle had a pretty good year. It's actually what put Matt Castle on the map as far as people looking to trade and people looking for a quarterback after the Patriots decided to put him on the block the year after where Tom Brady came back. But during that year, they went 11-5 and made the playoffs, won the division. So Bill Belichick, you have to give him credit, man. I mean, don't discredit Bill Belichick, and you can't discredit Tom Brady, because both of them together were a force for 20 years, man. Like, they've kept this up for 20 years. You're talking about a team that's won 6 Super Bowls, and most teams don't even have 2 to 3. You know, so that's the most in franchise history for NFL history for any franchise. They're tied with the Steelers. I'm not gonna lie, I've always liked the Patriots. I know that they're cheaters, scammers, but you can't knock the hustle, man. You can't knock Tom Brady. You can't knock Bill Belichick. But the thing is, with teams like the Patriots in general, you're talking about a team that has been dominant for so long. You're gonna get a lot of haters, man. That's just how it is. If Tom Brady played for your team, you would love Tom Brady. You know, it's just about having to go up against them all the time, and you know, the fact that they've won so long. People don't like franchises that win for too long. That's why I feel like LeBron gets a lot of hate. Golden State was actually hated by so many people after the first 2 years because they're sick of seeing the same teams win consistently. Apparently everybody feels as though, somebody else deserves a chance. I don't care about any of that. If my team was a top team, I want to keep winning, and I want to keep winning Super Bowls. I want to keep competing. I'm not worried about what anybody else's fan base is saying, you know. But it's a bias. It's definitely a biased thing. So I don't knock the Patriots hustle at all, but this is going to be a new kind of year for the Patriots, one that they haven't seen since that Matt Castle led season.
Behind the Home Depot, giving you the personal side, what the teams are getting in terms of players who are drafted.
Alright, so the draft is back. The Titans are on the clock. Mike Vrabel is a great head coach. It's kind of crazy now because you know how a player becomes a coach and you've actually watched that player play, that coach play at one point. Mike Vrabel has to be the first head coach that I've actually saw as a player. That goes to show you how old I'm getting, man. I'm getting up there. Because I remember Mike Vrabel on the Patriots, and I remember him specifically because he was a nice linebacker, but he was known because he had 7 catches on the Patriots for 7 touchdowns as a receiver, like on the goal line for their trick plays and all that. So the Titans select Christian Fulton. That is a great pick. He's the cornerback out of LSU. He was also considered to go in the first round, anywhere between the first and the second. But Christian Fulton I had going in the first round, I think, to the 49ers. So this is the most off pick that I've had in the draft. Christian Fulton is a nice lockdown corner. He kind of struggles in zone coverage, but he's a good man-to-man corner. I definitely think that he could improve in zone, but he has good ball skills, but definitely can improve in zone. I feel like he gives up on a lot of plays as well, but overall, I think that he will be a good corner in the league. Just not a guy that you can consistently rely on play by play anyway. But he is athletic, and he does have the speed. He does have the catch-up speed, so that's why he's good for man-to-man coverage. But I had the Titans taking Jeff Gladney late first round. So to get Christian Fulton in the second round when they're not too far off is a great selection by them. The Packers pick is in now. Mind you, I didn't get a chance to do the first round for the Packers, but that Jordan Love trade, man, if that wasn't a punch in the face to Aaron Rodgers, from what I heard, Aaron Rodgers is an ass. Like, I heard he is like not a good person. I don't know. I've never seen him, act out or anything off the field, but I know he doesn't get along with his head coaches. But a lot of people burn Aaron Rodgers, and I think Jordan Love, Aaron Rodgers, I don't know how he's going to react to that. Judging off the way people perceive him, it's not going to be a good thing. And I know one of my mans who is a big Packers fan was pissed about the move because you're kind of realizing that Aaron Rodgers in the next couple years might be on his way out.
The first couple picks that they've had, they needed a tackle. They went out in the first round and picked up a great tackle with great size. Needed to get a corner.
Right, so the Packers pick is in. After the Packers, we're going to go Kansas City and then the Seattle Seahawks.
It impacts right away. So nice job by John Robinson and Mike Vrabel addressing 2 needs with these first 2 picks.
Though the Green Bay Packers are on the clock right now as we get close to the end of the second round. They traded up in the first round last night and took their quarterback of the future, Jordan Love. Much to the chagrin of some, it would seem. Let's see what the Pack has in mind here.
Go, Pack, go!
All right, so the Green Bay Packers pick is in.
62nd pick in the 2020 NFL Draft. The Green Bay Packers select A.J. Dillon, running back.
And they go A.J. Dillon. Wow. A.J. Dillon. I can't believe they just did that. And A.J. Dillon is more of a power back. He's not fast at all. But if you're talking about a guy that has punishing, bruising ability, it is A.J. Dillon. I had the Panthers taking A.J. Dillon in the 5th round. So they must have really thought highly of A.J. Dillon. And the fact that they have Aaron Jones already is like, wow. They're both similar running backs too. They have a similar style, but he is a bruiser. He will run over you. He'll truck stick the hell out of you. But I did not see him going in the second round, but I guess because the fact that most teams started making a run on running backs in the second round. But I do not understand the move necessarily unless, I don't know, man. I don't get this move. They definitely reached. They definitely reached for him. And the fact that they have Aaron Jones, I don't think this is a good pick at all for the Packers. But it looks like they're trying to implement an entire new offense. I'm curious to see what happens with them, but it's a weird pick for me. Wow, A.J. Dillon. And they have Jordan Love on now. Oh, man. Like they said Aaron Rodgers will be the most miserable quarterback for Jordan Love to be under as far as teaching. And oh, man, that's gonna be a whole thing. But this Carson Wentz thing, let's get into it, man. How do you feel about the pick? Jalen Hurts to the Philadelphia Eagles. Wild pick. I think he will be a productive quarterback, but it's not time yet, man. It's definitely not time yet. And the Chiefs pick is in. Their last pick was Clyde Edwards-Helaire, but they have Zach Bond on the board at linebacker, and I had them taking Murray in the first round. So to get Zach Bond now in the second, late in the second, we're talking about the end of the second round. That would be a nuts move to be able to take him. And he's a tenacious linebacker as well.
Hi, Maria. Jordan, thank you very much. Jordan, heading a running back who will probably be pressed into service a little quicker than he will. A.J. Dillon, running back at Green Bay, out of Boston College, going.
All right, so the top quarterbacks on the board. You still have Jake Fromm. You have Jacob Eason from Washington, Anthony Gordon from Washington State, Nate Stanley from Iowa. After that, I don't even know if any of them can crack being a 7th round pick. Wow, what a crazy round. Day 2 of the NFL draft is off to a crazy start. We're not even in the 3rd round yet. But yeah, the Chiefs pick is in. I say they go Zach Bond. After them, you also have the Seattle Seahawks and the Cincinnati Bengals as well. But Jalen Hurts, that's going to be the story of the night, guys. Jalen Hurts going to the Philadelphia Eagles.
Who passed away just a couple of weeks ago from complications of the coronavirus. How is he with
All right, so you still have Zach Moss as far as running backs from Utah. You still have him on the board. LaMichael Perrine, Keyshawn Vaughn from Vanderbilt, Darrington Evans from Appalachian State, who would be a great 5th round pick. He's an explosive playmaker from a smaller school. And definitely the Packers are starting a whole rebuild now, man, on offense, because it's looking wild, man. I just don't. I guess they're looking for life after Aaron Rodgers, and it's crazy because they literally have, like, the receivers they have talent, man. Well, we know about Devontae Adams, but everybody else, they have talent. They have speed. They just can't put it together. They've been through a lot of wide receivers over the years, and they just can't find that second receiver ever since Jordy Nelson left. Right, so the Chiefs pick is in. Let's see where they decide to go. But again, shout out Gaming Authority. Make sure to go subscribe to their channel. If you want all the best defenses in Madden that you could possibly find, Gaming Authority is where it is at. Looking for nano blitzes, 3-4 setups, 4-3 setups, any setup. Defensively, Gaming Authority is the place to be. So the Chiefs select Willie Gay Jr. Wow. An inside linebacker out of Mississippi State. I can say I've never heard of him either. Zach Bond was on the board, and the Chiefs decided to take this guy. So let's see what they have to say about him. A trade? It looks like there's been another trade. Seattle Seahawks traded their pick to the Panthers. Let's go. Who are they trying to get? I would be ecstatic if they got Zach Bond, man. I would be ecstatic if they got Zach Bond. I don't see anybody else that we would take. If they get Zach Bond, no lie, the Panthers might have the second best draft thus far, out after the Vikings. Don't get a receiver. Wait, so the Panthers traded up. I'm curious to see if they traded Curtis Samuel, because a lot of teams are looking for a speedster, and I know Curtis Samuel's on a lot of teams' draft trade alerts that he was on a lot of teams' radar. So let's see. I'm curious to see if we got rid of Curtis Samuel right now, man. I had them trading him too for a third-round pick. I doubt they would have got a second-round pick unless they packaged that third round in there as well. And we go to commercial break. With that being said, Terrell Lewis, I like Zach Bond though, man. Zach Bond would be a great fit for the Panthers at linebacker. I would go Zach Bond over Lewis. But I would be happy. I don't know who else I want right now, though, man. Like, Zach Bond would be the only pick that I see. But like I said, I'm not a scout, you know. If they feel strongly about a player enough, the Panthers will go up and get him. It's not like us to trade up. If anything, the Panthers like to trade back. But we shall see. Yeah. Thank you. But yeah, Panthers, I'm curious to see where we go, man. It has to be a linebacker. Definitely. I definitely agree, man. It has to be. Because if it's not, then I don't see where else we would go unless we're going offensive line. I don't know. I would go offensive line, but the fact that Bond's there, I'm taking Bond, man. Like, that would be my pick. If they take that, I'll be happy with everything that the Panthers have been doing, man. And make sure to follow, definitely, Gaming Authority's #1 Facebook group, which is Madden NFL Defense. You want to look for comments, people critiquing different plays, different sets. Facebook group, you already know, Madden NFL Defense. So make sure to go follow them on Facebook and be a part of the community, man. Gaming Authority is definitely the spot to be. You want that defense to be A1, go on Facebook, go on YouTube, research Gaming Authority and Madden NFL Defense. The Facebook group is the place to be. But yeah, man, this draft is going pretty smooth. The second round is just about over. Third round is quickly approaching. My favorite round personally is the third round, because you get a lot of players that fall back, especially if they take a big drop. You get a lot of receivers in this round. Obviously, in the second round, a lot of receivers have went. But the third round, you see a lot of skill players, and that's what I like to see in the third round. Running backs and wide receivers from smaller schools that had great impacts, but didn't get a lot of recognition, or at least as much recognition as they deserve. All right, Matt Rule, let's see what you decided to do, man. I'm not even going to knock you. You've had a great draft so far, outside of Isaiah Simmons.
They have already helped their defensive line. That's a good defensive guy. Derek Brown drafted in the first round. Vitor Gross-Matos, a defensive end from Penn State in the second.
I think one thing, when you think about Matt Rule, wherever he's been, whether
If we take Zach Bond, that would be a great move, man. Let's go. Our draft is looking well so far. Definitely looking well.
Derek Brown, you mentioned Vitor Gross-Matos. You got some guys that make a difference up front, just really bringing his own mentality, his own approach, guys, to the identity that he's now trying to create in his first year with the Carolina Panthers.
There's no doubt. And I think it's high character, defensive guys that play hard too. Whenever you watch them out,
I'm just happy that he didn't do anything stupid and just started drafting people from Temple or Baylor, because the way free agency looked, he literally just picked up players. I mean, he's looking out. Don't get me wrong. It's nice to look out for your old organizations, but all right. So the Panthers pick is in. Let's see where we go.
Seattle Seahawks have traded the 64th pick for the Carolina Panthers. With the 64th pick in the 2020 NFL Draft, the Carolina Panthers select Jeremy Chin.
What?
Defensive back, Southern Illinois.
Jeremy Chin out of Southern Illinois. I don't like the pick. I don't like the pick at all, especially since we traded up to get him. Nasty pick. But I mean, he is a solid player. He has size, and he is great in coverage. His size is comparable to Cam Chancellor. He's 6'3", 221. But I felt like you could have gotten him in the third round. So for us to jump and take him when we need a linebacker, like, what's going on with us, man? What's up with the linebackers? Shaq Thompson isn't as good as they make him seem. He's a nice linebacker, but Zach Bond would have definitely completed that for us. The thing is, a lot of people say that Brian Burns was a linebacker last year, but he played in a 3-4 set. He's going to be a defensive end with his hand in the ground next year. So it's kind of questionable that they traded up for Jeremy Chin, but I'm not necessarily ecstatic about the pick. I give him a C plus for that. I definitely give him a C plus, man. But I'll take it though. I'll take it. It's definitely a position in need because we got rid of Eric Reed too. Like I said, the Panthers cleaned house this year. We definitely cleaned house. I'm curious to see what we traded though. I want to see what that trade is.
He was the final pick of the second round, was Jeremy Chin, and now we're ready to start the third round.
All right, so the third round is coming up. And we're starting with the Cincinnati Bengals with the 65th pick. And they go Logan Wilson. Not a bad pick. He was the second best linebacker available. Zach Bond is taking a tumble. So after Cincinnati, we have Washington and Detroit up next. We are at the start of the third round. But yes, Logan Wilson is a great linebacker. He could have went early in the second round, but there are a lot of linebackers in this draft as well. He's very versatile. He has great coverage skills. He reminds me of a little bit of Luke Kuechly, more like Kiko Alonso. As far as speed and everything like that goes, he's more of a Kiko Alonso guy. He has great instincts. But Kiko Alonso, coming out of college, was very instinctual, and he definitely could read a defense. So he is more of a coverage linebacker rather than more of a zoning linebacker than an edge rusher. Right, the Redskins pick is in already. Let's see, they need an offensive tackle, a cornerback, a tight end, a running back, a safety, a wide receiver. Now, one pick that I hope the Panthers do take, or one player that I do hope they take, is Thaddeus Moss, because we need a tight end, man. I'm not even concerned about Teddy Bridgewater. I just think like I said, I think we'll have him for a year or two and then select the quarterback, but we need to improve that tight end. So Antonio Gibson, there you go. That's a nice pick from Memphis. Wide receiver. And I think he's more, so he reminds me of Josh Gordon. Like, he reminds me of Josh Gordon. He's a bigger receiver. He's pretty fast, not as fast as you would like your receivers to be. But on Madden, you're talking about like a 90 speed. Definitely Josh Gordon-esque. He's a great route runner as well. It's just the speed he is kind of lacking. But he's more of a Josh Gordon T.O. kind of receiver, so I can't knock that at all. And they do have Golden Tate. When he left, he joined the Giants, so they did need another receiver. So I can't even get mad at that. Can't even do that. So that was a nice pick by the Lions. So we have Zach Bond, Josh Jones, Justin Mabaduke, and Jordan Elliott as the top available players. And we are in the beginning of the third round. So yes, we're getting busy with this third round, and it looks like it's going to move fast. The fourth round is tomorrow. I believe that starts at 5 o'clock. I won't be covering the later rounds, just the money rounds, but I will. If you follow me on social media, especially on Instagram, that's where I cover all of the sports. So I know this channel is more so Panthers related, but I do cover all sports, and I will be making more sporting videos. I love basketball. I love talking basketball as well, just as much as I love talking football. Baseball, I'm starting to get into, but the Flyers, I pay attention to the Flyers. The Flyers were on a kill streak up until this coronavirus hit. So I do cover all sports, not just football. I also cover fantasy sports, so I do have a lot of opinions, a lot of ways that I get things done in fantasy, choosing how I draft, what positions, when to take them. So I do a lot of things as far as sports goes. I talk life, but also I'm trying to get into the spreads and everything like that, guessing scores, things like that are all going to be featured on this channel. So make sure you guys subscribe and follow on all social media platforms at Sport Ruffians.
In a world of change, we can still make a world of difference by being positive and proactive, being a good neighbor.
But yeah, good draft so far. There's been a ton of wide receivers, more than any position taken in this draft, as expected. Curious to see where Jake Fromm goes, but I think he'll go in the fourth, so you might not even be seeing him selected today.
From our door to yours, we're here for you with Wawa Delivery. Have your Wawa favorites delivered right to your doorstep, including groceries like bread, milk, ice cream, and more. You can find us at Grubhub, Uber Eats, and DoorDash. Order today.
Hey, listen, everybody out there in the NFL draft. It's your man, Steve Harvey, and I want to say congratulations to all of you. You're heading for a dream come true. You've been working your entire lives to get to this position, and you finally made it. So listen, brothers, take care of yourself. Congratulations, and don't blow it.
They got Steve Harvey on there.
In the NFL draft, you deserve it.
Oh wow, they got McNabb and Adrian Peterson on there. Celebrity Family Feud. I guess they're like pre-recorded episodes. That's cool. So yes, like I've said many times before, the biggest news of today is Jalen Hurts to the Philadelphia Eagles. I don't know what to expect tomorrow. I know the Eagles fan base is blowing up right now because Jalen Hurts to me will be a great quarterback. Not right away, maybe 3-4 years down the line. I think he'll be a good quarterback. Probably middle of the road type QB with high upside. But Carson Wentz, man, what is he feeling right now, man? And the Lions take Julian Okwara. I didn't even see him on the board. He's a nice edge rusher out of Notre Dame. He had 12 sacks in the last 2 years. And he was projected to be a first-round pick, too. I'm surprised that Mel doesn't have him on his top 10 available at all. And he is going to Detroit. That is what's up. So next up, we have the Jets, Seattle, and the Dolphins. And the Jets pick is in already.
Was the way it was, Reese. Almost 6,000 miles. That's the distance from where Julian Okwara was born in Nigeria to where he went to college at Notre Dame. And for Okwara, the appreciation is in the journey.
My name is Julian Okwara. I was born in London, United Kingdom. Lived in Lagos, Nigeria for 8 years. Moved to North Carolina when I was 8 years old.
My bad. Yeah, so Julian Okwara goes to the Lions. That is a nice pick for them. I feel like the Lions never have a defense. Never. Like, never have a defense. They always have 1 or 2 good players on defense, and it's mostly either a corner or a safety, but you never hear of a great pass rusher outside of Ansah that I've seen the Lions have in years, man. Like, I don't know if you guys remember in Madden, let's say like 2008, when they had Ernie Sims, the linebacker. Like, when linebackers started getting fast, Ernie Sims had a blue star, which meant he is a rising superstar. That's when they first started doing that. That was the last time the Lions had a solid defense. They've literally been irrelevant on defense for the past 10 years.
Talk about a night of fate for the Okwara family. Why? Because Julian will directly follow his brother Romeo, a defensive end at, you guessed it, Detroit with the Lions. That was one of the reasons why.
Wow, so his brother actually plays for the Lions as well, and he's a defensive end on the Lions currently. So they have both brothers playing on the same squad. That's cool.
We go back to the commissioner of the Jets about to make a pick.
With the 68th pick in the 2020 NFL Draft, the New York Jets select Ashton Davis.
And the Jets select Ashton Davis, safety out of California.
The Jets may not be overly familiar with this guy, but he is an elite athlete. He walked on in Cal. He was a finalist for the World Tour Trophy.
Wow, it's a solid pick. He reminds me of a faster Eric Weddle. I thought he was going to go later in the draft as well, but I can't knock him for this at all. But yeah, he's aggressive in run defense as well. So that was a nice pick by them. The Seahawks pick is in again. I feel like they've been trading back a lot. But they have our pick. Now, I still haven't seen the trade details on the Carolina Panthers pick to the Seahawks. So I'm curious to see what that is. I don't know. I doubt that Curtis Samuel was involved, but if we traded our 3rd round and then a 4th, I don't know what else we can do in this draft unless they have offers for Curtis Samuel currently.
Yeah, I think that versatility for him obviously is going to be very big. Just going to need some more reps. But listen, anytime you're a Pac-12 110-meter hurdle champion, you've got simply something that you can't coach, and they'll just learn to trust his eyes.
So the Seahawks pick is in. There's a couple great players left. You have Zach Moss out of Utah, running back. Zach Bond is still on the board. Lloyd Cushenberry is another good offensive lineman that's still on the board. So you still have potential players that stand out in the draft. And like I said, we're only in the 3rd round. 4th round, I can watch. After that, you don't even know if those guys are going to make the roster. It's exciting to watch during training camp and everything else, but other than that, you really don't know what you're getting, you know what I mean? But the Seahawks pick is in, and they select
69th pick in the 2020 NFL Draft. The Seattle Seahawks select Damian Lewis.
They go to guard out of LSU. Not a bad pick, considering Russell Wilson is always on his ass because the line cannot block or give him